Good morning, family, and welcome to today's Lessons for Life. Today is Saturday, March 28th, 2009, and today we're reading Deuteronomy chapter 27. And as I was reading this chapter, what I want to bring up for Lessons for Life is really a thought process that I'm working out even in my own head. So excuse the rawness of how I will bring up today's Lessons for Life. But this is just something, as I was reading, I saw where it was talking about the blessings. There were certain men that were going to be on one mount that would pronounce the blessings, and there were another set of men that were going to be on another mount that would pronounce the curse. So from what I see, and it goes into a number of different laws of how people can get a curse. So from what I see, that there are actually two sets of law that we live by. Law that will bring forth a blessing in your life, and then there's a law that will bring forth a curse in your life. And depending upon which one you follow, and this actually reminded me of some stuff we were reading last night, and usually I don't like to go ahead in the scriptures, but in Romans chapter 8 it talks about the law of the spirit of life in Christ Jesus as one, and then it talks about the law of sin and death. So it's kind of reminded me of that, where there's, like I said, two laws that we're actually going by. Now, what I thought about this, knowing that there's a law that if you follow these laws, then you'll have blessings in your life, versus if you follow this set of laws, then you'll have pronounced curse in your life. But then there has to be also that middle ground, or that area where you're not quite living by the laws that will give you blessings, but then you're not quite going in the opposite direction where you're being cursed, and you're just walking in that middle ground. It's not, like I said, this is kind of how my mind is just processing this, and I believe as we continue to read through the Word, I continue to read through the Word personally myself, then I'll get a clearer understanding of even what I'm bringing forth today. But, so we have the laws of blessings, we have the laws of cursing, and we have that middle ground. And, what I'm thinking about is, as the children of Israel, if they came out of Egypt, and they didn't necessarily follow the laws that would pronounce blessings for them, then they would just be walking in that middle ground, and they wouldn't necessarily get to it, because that blessing was the promised land. They wouldn't necessarily get to where they were supposed to be going. They would just be in the wilderness, really. That's where they came out, and was in the wilderness at first. So in our own lives, what I'm going to bring it up just to say for what we can learn for Lessons for Life here is, there's that area where we're living completely for God, and we're actually being blessed, and our lives are blessed. There's an area where we're totally against what God is supposed to be doing, what we're supposed to be doing, and we're in the area of being cursed. And then there's that middle ground. But basically, if we're not fully or totally and wholly for God, then we're not really living up to what we're supposed to be doing, I would say, even as we're here on this earth. And it says even in, I believe, Revelations that, it talks about, if you either be hot or you be cold, or if you're lukewarm, then he's going to spew you out of his mouth. Because, there's nothing really to do when you're in that middle area where you're kind of just, you're not living enough to be really in the full blessings of the Lord, but then you're not, so terrible that you're just, okay, you're in curse, but you're just in that middle area. So, you don't know what to do with that at that point. Like, even if we're walking, literally, as we take this chapter, there was people on one mountain going to pronounce blessings, there's people on another mountain going to pronounce the curse. But what about those people who are not going either way? They're just in that middle ground. What do you do with those people? So what I want to really just bring up for Lessons for Life, like I said, this is a thought process I'm going through here, and you're just kind of witnessing me or watching me go through my thought process. So what I want to share really for Lessons for Life is that if you're not fully experiencing the blessings of God, then you're not fully living how God would want you to live. And if you're not fully experiencing all those blessings, then you're not in that realm of the blessing portion. You're in that either lukewarm or you're in that cursed area, I would say. So our lives should be constantly in that blessed portion of of the Lord. And I'm attempting to figure out the best way to actually put it. But hopefully, from everything I've been rambling from this morning, you kind of get some of the gist of what I'm saying. But our lives should be fully in the blessed portion, and that's the way we can tell if we're actually living according to as God would want us to live. Because if we're not being blessed, if we're not on that side of the road, I'm just thinking about it as a road, as walking down the road. If we're not living on that side of the road, we're in a blessing from the Lord. Then we're either in that lukewarm state, which God said He'll spew us out of His mouth, or we're living in the cursed state. So that's a good barometer of our lives to see if we are blessed in the different things that we do. Wherever our feet go, whatever that we're doing, if we're blessed, and that's a good, like I said, a good way to tell, a good barometer to see how our life and how our walk really with God is going, and if God is pleased with what we're doing, if we're doing the right things according to God's law, God's commandments, and that's it. So I will leave it at that. Hopefully you got something from today's lessons for life. Like I said, as I continue to go through reading the scriptures, and I'll get a clearer understanding, and hopefully, as always, I didn't even preface it today, but you read the scriptures for yourself, see what you get from it. Email us and we'll put it on the blog. But I'm going to leave it at that for now. Create yourself a wonderfully blessed day today, and we will talk again tomorrow.